Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday Inspiration. My name is Fernanda. I'm here with Dr. Linda Marquez, and we have a special guest today. It's the third time she's joining us, and we absolutely enjoy every time she joins us. We love her, and her name is Kimberly Rinaldi. You might have seen her in another episodes before. And today's topic that we're going to talk with her, it's about lessons for joyful living, creating a life you love. And Dr. Linda, I think you and I and everybody else that is listening to the podcast can relate that we're going through life, might as well make it enjoyable, might as well make it a life that we love and we wake up happy and excited about. And that's all about what we're going to be talking with Kimberly today. Dr. Linda, how are you?
Yes, I am great. I'm great. And, this is like the perfect timing for this. I mean, all of us can be happy and joyful at all times. And there's sometimes circumstances, conditions that occur in our life. But, it's always perspective. You and I have talked about this. And, I've learned so much. I've been coached by Kimberly. And, she has a way about bringing out like the best in people. So I think that's what today's going to be all about, is really bringing out the joy and creating a life that you want to love, because this is all we have right now as we know it. Mm-hmm. As far as what's happening in the future, should we go on to another life? We really don't know. We all have speculations, but I say, hey, let's live in the moment and make the best of now, be the best version of self. So for those of you, like you said, you may not know her, but Kimberly is very entrepreneurial. She's got such a her spiritual depth is incredible. Her intuitiveness, connecting with people, is incredible, and her just bringing out the best version of you and having you just shift and look at things a little bit different, kind of like a rocket going in space. You just you got to shift it a little bit, and then you get back on track. So she's really great at that. I mean, she does it in such a beautiful way. And so today, we want her to share with that. How can we live that joyful life and really create it? But she's also a podcaster. She's an author. She's very creative in so many areas of her life. And you'll have to ask her about her happy friend, Jake. So we should bring her on.
Of course. Hello, Kimberly.
Good morning, ladies. I love you, and thank you for having me on. I love spending time with you guys. I love sharing the lessons in joyful living that I have to share. And I love that you both touched on the fact that it is imperative that we take control of how we experience this little merry-go-round that we're on. It doesn't matter. You're not where you are because of where you used to be. You are where you are because of where you choose to be. And if it doesn't bring your soul joy, if it doesn't bring you peace, it's not for you. And you've got to realize that. And we are living in a time right now, and I'm not going to say, the new normal. We're always living in a time where Mother Nature is trying to kill a bunch of us off with various methodologies, be it famine, flood, whatever, pestilence. Our human nature is the moment we're born. Every moment we spend puts us that much closer to our death, which is really just kind of frightening when you think about it, and can be really depressing. But the reality is we're all given a choice in every single moment. And I love that, Linda, you were talking about, and so were you, Fernanda, the whole choosing to be in the moment, to experience it, to not put a value on it. Mm-hmm. That is the freedom of living joyfully, the freedom of knowing that it doesn't matter what your government does. It doesn't matter what the people next door do. It doesn't matter what the mandates are being thrown at you. You get a choice as to how you experience it. And I, for one, am a big advocate of, if you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you're negative, if you're worried about who's going to save you, if you're worried about what you did 2 weeks ago that made you unhappy, if you're worried about your ex, your mother-in-law, or anybody else, I have a saying, Linda, what is that? Knock that
shit out.
Knock that shit off. Yeah. Why are you spending time in it? It's none of us is promised even the next breath. I could get taken out by a meteor like now. lightning now. I mean, heart attack now. Why are we wasting time feeling shitty about this wonderful, amazing, spectacular gift that we have, which is life and the ability to impact other people?
Mm-hmm.
And you said something. You said something just so spot on. And we chatted a little bit prior to this, but about no one is going to rescue you. A lot of the times we're waiting for something, some course, some speaker, something to change us. Like after this meeting, or after I meet with this person, or after I'm blessed by the Pope, or after I met with this guru, or I've been standing on my head for 10 hours, I'm going to be this amazing, incredible person, and my life's going to be awesome. And like we're almost waiting for something or someone to rescue us, to give us permission to live life full out.
And that is, you know, when I win the lottery, when I find my perfect partner, when things get easier at work, when my health gets better, why are we putting off the choice? Because that's all it is. It's a choice. It's a choice. Some people have, you know, much less by means of physical, tangible things that they live with. They live in hovels and shacks and, you know, dirt floors, and they're joyful.
Mm-hmm.
They dance, they express that joy through, you know, glorious, joyful sound and noise throughout the day. And I want to talk a lot about vibration today, because that is the core of joy. It's vibration. What are you vibrating at? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Are you watching the news? Don't. Are you reading newspapers? Don't. Are you stuck on social media? And I realize we're using it as a format right now to access people. But if you're hanging up your phone or stepping away from your iPad or your computer and you're feeling like shit, then you're in the wrong circumstances. You're in the wrong space. If what you're experiencing isn't giving you peace and joy, let it go. Let it go.
You know, Kim, I was listening to a video and it kind of resonated a lot with me. Mm-hmm. And the video, the person speaking was asking the audience, what if I gave you $1 million right now? Mm-hmm. But the condition is you won't wake up tomorrow. Would you take $1 million? And nobody raised their hands, right? And said, okay, how about if I give you $10 million right now? I have them. I will give them to you right now. If you won't wake up tomorrow, would you take them? And nobody raised their hands. And it's a full room, right? And so the message is your life is worth way more than 1 million, way more than 10 million, way more than probably God knows how many million. Why? Because life is a miracle. It's a gift all in itself. And so when we are taking it for granted every single day, waking up, not being grateful, and literally spending over 80% of our day worrying about the tomorrow or thinking about the yesterday instead of living on today and being grateful for being here and alive and present today, then we're kind of giving away that precious gift that we have, which is being in the moment and being alive right now. And that touched me deeply because it's true. Like I wouldn't take any amount of money, you know, if it meant that I didn't wake up tomorrow. But yet we don't have tomorrow promised. We don't have tomorrow secure. Like we don't even know if we're going to wake up. Yet we continue to do it every single day without maximizing how we're living every single day.
And you both know biology, brain science, mind science. The fact is, you get more of what you are. If you're a miserable, negative human being, guess what? You're vibrating at that. You're resonating at that. You are drawing to people who love being miserable and negative. But if you're a happy, bright, light, giving, gifted, blessed, you know, filled with gratitude individual, you're going to scare off the negative people. They don't want to be around you. Mm-hmm. I can tell you right now, you're going to irritate the crap out of them. They're going to go all on their own. But you're also going to draw on people who have that gift and share that with you. It's a biological imperative that our brain searches out the negativity. There is no period. You cannot escape it. That is what we are programmed for. but we know it now. We know it. And when you know better, you have a responsibility to do better. It's not when you know better, you do better. It's not automatic. You now have a responsibility to do better, to bring yourself to that higher state, to show up, owning your values. What's important to you? What are you not willing to compromise? To know your value. You are an individual, one of a kind, human miracle. I worked in OB-GYN, my first stint in healthcare. And ladies, you can attest again, coming from healthcare, a live birth is a miraculous experience. When you look at statistically what can happen up to the point of that human being presenting on this planet, there's so many opportunities for it not to happen. There's so many opportunities for shit to go south. So every human being that makes it here has a special purpose. Mm-hmm. And I'm choking up on this. I literally am, because this is something I'm so passionate about. You have to know what's important to you and live by it. Live true to you. You're the only person that you, from birth to death, are responsible for, or to. You have to know your value. You have to know how important you are to this tapestry. You have to contribute your worth. What did you come here for? And you ladies do a fabulous job. You're out there changing lives and helping women stand up and become who they're meant to be. So I'm going to turn the table and start interviewing you, because that's what I do. Before you started doing what you're doing, can you remember a time looking back where you didn't think you had a message or a vision or a purpose, and how you felt about who you were at that time?
Fernanda, you go first.
Okay, of course. Yeah. And Kimberly, mine is actually a little bit more recent. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate, and we talked about these during last episode. I was fortunate that somehow I was always guided by a goal. I always had a goal in mind, and I was always very goal oriented. Mm-hmm. But it was always a goal that was going to keep me going, not necessarily thinking about my mission or my purpose. But okay, I'm already doing this, so I just need to do it better. I just need to, do it more, or I just need to get the next
game.
Exactly, right? Get more certifications. Now I'm going to get certified as a blah, blah, blah nurse practitioner, right? And so it was always more of like how to do it bigger and better, but not necessarily how is my heart resonating with these? How am I feeling through it, right? And so I was doing it, and I was very good at what I was doing, extremely good. I was getting complimented by patients and administration and fellow colleagues and everything, but how was I feeling? And I never really stopped to think about it too often, because it would scare me, because I wasn't feeling good, right?
It's an empty package. It's an absolutely empty package. Yeah.
And the turning point for me was when I experienced my fair share of depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the traditional medical healthcare, because that's what I was doing for my patients. Right. For my own healing, and I didn't find that healing. So then I not only was I feeling empty before, but I'm like now feeling like a fraud. Like, okay, it's not working, and so
let down. Yeah, right? And let down by what you had believed in.
Exactly. And so that was kind of like the major aha moment. Like, okay, there is got to be something else out there, because it's impossible that I can live like this for the next 40, 50, 60 years of my life. I just cannot do it. I mean, it's impossible. And so I started looking for other avenues and other resources and everything. And it was eye-opening when I found out that I had a choice in the way that I acted, in the way that I behaved, and the way that I thought, which was like the life-changing point for me. Was like, wait a minute, I don't have to think this. Like, I can change it. And it sounds so ridiculous, and it sounds so stupid. Like, because it's so simple, but the truth is that I was depressed because I kept choosing to think those thoughts. I was anxious because I kept choosing to think those thoughts.
And it's not your fault, because it's biologically programmed, but you learned how to get past it.
Right. And then I started going back to like different situations that would make me depressed. And now I had like that knowledge in me that I was like, wait a minute, I can bring myself back to the present moment. And so I would start working on breath work, and I would start going to meditate. And right there and then I would feel better. I'm like, okay, so I'm onto something, right? And so that led to more and more and more. But it's not knowing that there is something out there that is the present moment, and it's choosing different, that can take you out of quote unquote your misery. And that was the solution for me.
Yeah. And it works every single time. I have not met a single person that this doesn't work for when it's applied.
Right.
And consistently. I'm losing earbud here. When it's applied consistently. I am the first one to say it's a practice. It's absolutely a practice. And I have to maintain my practice in order to be there for other people.
Right.
Which is, the more you step up, the more you're called to do, the more challenges you face, the more you have to double down, dig your heels in, and do the work.
Right.
And it's not hard. The thing is, it's not hard work. How many times, I mean, Linda, you and I have known each other a decade at this point.
Yeah.
How many times have you and I stepped back and gone, why didn't I just do the work?
And you go back, but like, this is about creating, teaching people to create a life that you really love.
Yeah.
And Fernanda, you said that so beautifully about, I'm choosing. And just, I think number one is just the awareness, that just to be aware that you're aware. What does that sound like? To be aware that you're aware, and, and then just choose and repeat and choose something different. Be aware of your thoughts, your actions, your vibrational frequency. I was always say your juju, whatever juju you're giving off, be aware of that.
Yeah.
And then choose. Do I want to continue to have this in the next and the next and the next, or not?
I'm going to say something slightly controversial. Life is hard. It's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you get to choose your hard. You get to choose. Do you want to do the work, which really isn't that hard? It's just you have to do it, and then things get better. Life gets easier. The challenges change, or do nothing and feel like shit. I mean,
right.
It's literally black and white. One of them is going to require some effort, some work, some consciousness about it. The other one, you can go through life unconsciously, but you're not going to be fulfilled. You get to choose your hard. You get to choose every moment.
In creating the life that you truly love also. And you mentioned this at the beginning, Kimberly, it's having that ownership, right? Because when I was going through that, I was blaming what had happened to me, right? Oh my God, and I was in victim mode, and that was huge for me to understand, right? And so I was blaming others. I was living in victim mode. I was waiting for something outside of me to change in order to make me feel better. And when I realized that if I wanted to create a life that I loved, it had to start from within me, and then it was going to move to my outside world. I was going to be able to create my life instead of living by default. Then things started changing too. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that if I feel happy, I'm going to encounter more happiness in my life? Are you telling me that if I'm more positive, then I'm going to encounter more positivity? Are you telling me that if I think in prosperity, I'm going to be prosperous? And that was also a major kind of like aha moment in my life 2 years ago, because I didn't realize that, and I was waiting, like many, many other people do, for things to change.
Yeah.
And those things are not changing unless you change.
Yeah. And there are people who, they don't just tie it to the day-to-day stuff. It's when the kids grow up. When I retire, they're committing to long-term misery in the hopes that down the road, things are going to get better. When I get a house, when I, pay the house off, when I find the career, when I, it's amazing how we will tie our happiness to a long-term goal, literally standing back and saying, okay, I'm going to suffer through this bullshit for the next, we're going to say 20 years for kids to careers to retirement. But we'll stand in front of the damn microwave on 30 seconds and bitch that that's not fast enough. Mm-hmm. It's where is the brain process in this? I deserve happiness now. I don't need my hot water in 30 seconds. I can wait. But let's start looking at how does this impact. I think one of the greatest gifts, and it's one of the things that I when I'm working with clients, I advocate for, is go find someone who needs you more than you need your bullshit. Seriously. Go find a cause, something where you can do for others and come out of it feeling massive gratitude. Because if you don't have that thing that gets you up in the morning, whether it's your work, whether it's your avocation, the things that you do on your time off, if you don't have that thing that lights you up where you're gifting to others some part of you, it's wasted energy. You're not doing what you came here for.
So part of creating a life that you love and a life that's worth living is one is of course service. You just mentioned about service, serving others, and we're all in the health field and service and helping other people have better lives, to become better versions of themselves. So if you want to create a life, no matter, even if you're not in the health field, just serving someone else, doing an act of kindness would be one. Number two, as Fernanda, you were saying, you had a goal, or sometimes, people can't differentiate between goal, vision, missions. Mm-hmm. But they kind of overlap in some ways, where you have goals that create a vision that can create a mission, or create a mission that creates a vision. So how else would you walk people through, having such an amazing life and having joyful as your whole, even your whole network was Lessons for Joyful Living, right?
It's right. It's Lessons in Joyful Living. That is the theme around everything I do. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is own your values. Know what's important to you. If you are compromising your values, if you're letting people cross those lines, it wasn't so bad. They apologized. You're constantly moving that line in the sand. You are not being true to who you are. It builds resentment. It builds all kinds of problems in relationships. It is not sustainable long term. And if you're doing it, whether it's in your work, whether it's, in your personal relationships, you have to know what's important to you, and you have to stand up for it. You absolutely have to take a stand. At some point in life, you have to say, this is where that line in the sand is drawn, and you're on the other side, and I'm on this side. And with non-judgment, I can love you from here and let you go. The next step is knowing your value. And I put owning your values in front because it's harder for people to know how imperatively important and valuable they are if they don't know what's important to them first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can come out and say, I know how important, but if you don't know your values, if you don't have healthy boundaries around them, then you don't know your value. So you've got to own your values, know your value, and then contribute your worth. What is that thing that you came here to do? What is that gift that only you, from your genetics to your personal experiences to how you interpreted, incorporated, and basically are putting them out there, you're doing it. Nobody else can do it the way you do. That's why so many of us are in healthcare and wellness, and we all come from a different perspective because of who we are, and we all align with different people for that purpose. So yeah, there are people waiting for Fernanda, for Linda, for me to show up, and they can be the same people. They can be all different people, because we're all going to put the information and the gifts out there very differently. So know your value.
How that came.
Yeah.
Because I encounter it a lot, and I think I experienced it somewhat as well, is a lot of people are walking and living their lives not knowing what that purpose or that contribution should be. What is the reason why they're here in this earth? And so if you have someone, a client that comes to you and you tell them, okay, you gotta have that contribution, you have to live your mission and your purpose, and they tell you, I have no idea what it is. How do you help people know what is that one thing that they came in here to do better than any other person in the world?
3 steps. The first one is go sit down and figure out what you loved as a kid. What did you come in with that was your gift? For me, it was, I loved research. I loved reading. I loved information. I loved knowledge. And then I would line all my animals up, real and stuffed and neighbor kids, and then I would teach them. So disseminating information for me is just at the core of who I am. Whatever it is that I'm involved with, whatever I have deep dove into, I am going to spread that information. So number 1 is figure out, what were your gifts that you came in with as a child? What were the things that lit you up? Number 2 is go back and find the people who love you the most. Not necessarily family. We're talking about people who really love you unconditionally. It isn't always your family of birth. It can be your family of choice. It can be friends. It can be your partner. And ask them to tell you what they think that you are spectacular about or spectacular at that you might not have an eye on. And you're going to find a lot of it aligns with, what did you come in with? What are those gifts? And the third thing is, go out and find a way to do it. It may not be the thing you're doing in life right this minute. Go find a hobby. Go find a way to give back. Try it. See what it does for you. It's what took me out of working clinically in healthcare to the insurance industry, and then finally to my own practice full time, because the bottom line was, I just want to share information. I want to give people tools and empowerment so that they can go out and impact others, So those 3 things will help you determine what it is that's going to carry you. And it's, that whole, you'll never work a day if you're doing what you love. And then if you can monetize it, it's called a glorious career.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the 3 things that I'm really, really wrapped up in. It makes all the difference in the world. My husband and my little boy just came back in, so we're in a hotel room. My little boy is my 10-year-old puppy dog, Jake. So yeah, he's my heart.
4-legged dog.
My 4-legged little buddy. But yeah, so I just think, it's too many people spend time wasting time, not understanding we don't have time to waste. Period. We don't have time to waste. There's a lot of ugliness going on in the world. It's an ugly place to be when you're stuck in that. It's up to you to shine a light on what lights you up, because you're going to illuminate it for somebody else. That's the beauty of it. You get to illuminate for somebody else because somebody illuminated it for you. Fernanda, who was that person?
I think it was Les Brown was talking once, and he said, every day that you're not living on your mission, your purpose in life, it's a day that you're robbing the universe from your gifts.
Exactly.
You're robbing others from being able to be helped, from being able to be encouraged, from being able to be touched or mentored, or whatever it is, because you are not utilizing the gifts that you came in here to do, and that's huge.
That's exactly it.
In a sense, every day that we waste, it's a day that we're robbing others as well, and so that's huge.
When you hit that level of personal power, accountability, responsibility to your fellow humans, there's no judgment in what other people are doing. Other people are doing what they need to be doing. You're taking care of you. That's a fabulous place to be. So, Linda, who was it for you that you?
Who was it for me? What? I'm like taking notes and just sharing here.
Who was the person that made you realize it was time to step forward and do for others?
It was one of my colleagues. Several years ago, he was teaching a seminar, And I mean, I was just in awe. I just totally loved him. And he would always invite me to a lot of his events. And I want you to sit right here because you always make me happy. He goes, I love having you there. And one day he comes up to me after the seminar. He goes, you need to be out there. He goes, you need to be out there teaching. And I called him an edutainer because he was educating but entertaining. And I'm like, I said, Dr. Bill, because it was Bill. I'm like, I'm not like you. I said, you're just so funny. And he's just just so charismatic. And he stops and he gives these looks. And I just love being around him. He's got this incredible energy. And I'm like, I can't speak in front of people. And he said exactly what Neil had said about, well, you're a disservice. That there's a disservice that you're creating by not going out and sharing the knowledge that you have because you are a wealth of knowledge. And so that prompted me to go to Toastmasters training. And then after that, it was like I got hooked. It was like, wow, people are listening to me. I kind of do know a lot.
Is that Dr. Bill Janishuk?
No, Dr. Bill DeMoss.
Okay. All
He's
right.
got CalJam now. He's got this big, CalJam, a big health / chiropractic convention every single year. And it's amazing. So we need to get him on the show. But anyways.
Yeah. And that's the exact same thing happened to me. It was 3 different people in the course of a 6-month period who basically said, God gave you a gift and you're basically spitting in his eye if you're not sharing it. That is a selfish place to be. And I when you start coming from that perspective, everything shifts, everything changes. You aren't just doing it for you. Yes, you benefit. Yes, it's a glorious place to be grateful from, but you're giving other people what they need. You're illuminating the path for them. So yeah.
And every time you're able to contribute, it comes back to you. And the more that you're able to contribute in that way, in something that makes you passionate, something that makes you light up, you are raising your vibration. And when you are raising your vibration, then you're allowing for even more things to come into your life. So then you start living this beautiful life where you are doing what you love and then receiving all kinds of things and messages and resources and things from the universe. And then you're impacting more and more and more people because you're expanding more and more. And so it's the ultimate place to be. And it all starts with taking action in where you are. Not waiting until the kids are grown, not waiting until you have, I don't know, X amount of money in the bank, or not waiting to, get better at what you're doing. Start where you are, figuring it out, and start taking action every single day.
Yeah, exactly. I am going to have to cut this short. We've got something that we have to get to right now. And I love you guys. And I know coming on is always such a blessing for me, and getting to spend time with you. I have something for people who are logged in and watching. If you go to courses.kimberlyrinaldi.com, and Fernanda will have the link to put up, and use the code JOY for the next 24 hours, because this is all about time. You get access to my 7-day challenge. It's choosing joy in 7 minutes a day over the course of 7 days. So basically in under an hour, you're going to be given the tools you need over the course of a week to start making those little incremental changes. But it's only 24 hours for free. After that, it's 20% off, because we love people who make shit happen now. That's what life's about. Yeah.
That's right. Well, go do your thing. So thank you so much.
Again, thank you guys. I love you.
Love you too. See everyone next week. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.